What's going on?
What's going on?
How are y'all doing tonight? We are not wearing our fancy microphones because I didn't bring the right device to do that. So hopefully y'all can hear us okay. And you can let us know in a minute. But we're here. It's raining. You're probably going to hear the rain because we got a metal roof. We got some stuff to give away we'll talk about in a minute. And sound like somebody's pulling up, but they're not. Hope y'all are doing good. We got a little bit of thunderstorms coming through. Hopefully it don't get too loud, but it has been raining, so you'll hear that roar of the rain while we're going here. But we got some questions some folks sent in, some giveaways, all that stuff. So we're glad to be here to talk to y'all tonight. And TJ is bringing up our feed to see what y'all are saying.
I know Brad said that he could hear us good.
Good.
And then Muddy Ducks is on.
What's up? Muddy Ducks.
Crap.
Y'all need to check out her page. Maybe I can share it on the comment or something afterwards, or she can post it right now either way. But she makes these cool looking epoxy tumblers, and like I didn't even know you could do that sort of thing with a tumbler, like the wood grain stuff and all the different colors, and it's crazy. When you sent me that link to your page and I clicked and scrolled through it, I was like, holy crap. I didn't even know that sort of thing. I thought you just like, I've known of people powder coating them. I don't know what I hear. Sound like a helicopter.
Might be the neighbor.
Alright. Anyway, I knew you could powder coat them and that sort of thing, but anyway, I didn't know you could do that much stuff with them, so that's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Let's see.
What we got going
You got
on here.
Reed on here, said he sounds good. And then Jeffrey said, what's up, guys?
What's up? I'm glad y'all can hear us good.
Yep.
We, I forgot. Well, actually, what happened was I ran to Hobby Lobby with my wife, and I just got back a second ago, so I didn't have time to get out all the fancy stuff, but it's okay. We are going to give away. We're going to give away two things, one on here and one when we jump over to Facebook. But the first thing we got is a. Who makes this? I can't.
I think it's Nice Target.
Yeah,
makes
nice targets. And it is a turkey target. These are pretty much plastic, but you can order them in a roll and just tear them off and shoot them, and you can get animals. I think they even have one that just has all like deer, turkey, pigs, the whole 9 yards. You just peel one off and stick it up for a while. But for the most part, the weather don't mess with it. It's got scoring rings on it. And they also make 5-dot and 3-dot targets in the whole 9 yards. But anyway, they gave this to TJ at the ATA show, and he brought it to give it away. And then that'll be cool. So I guess pick a number between 1 and 25. Y'all know the usual stuff. Just make sure you don't pick a number somebody else has already picked. And at the end of the show here, we will random draw somebody's number and ship you this turkey target. I know it's nothing terribly fancy, but we whooped it out. And then we got something else for our Facebook feed after we get off here.
Sly wants to know what's a good stabilizer recommendation.
What bow you shooting? I mean, there's really not too many bad stabilizers, but lately we've been into the Conquest bars. They've done good on some rigs we've shot. But I mean, Bee Stinger makes good stuff. Dead Center makes good stuff. What is it, a hunting bow or a tournament bow, and like, and what model is it, just out of curiosity?
It says 70 pounds.
70 pounds.
Yep.
And then like last year, me and TJ both on our hunting bows, we shot the Trophy Ridge stabilizers, and they come with as a package, like with the quick disconnects and all that, a front and side bar, and I think it's for a little less than $200.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought they did good. They're carbon. You got weights you can put on them and different color kits and all that.
It says you're using it for hunting on the Traverse. And Muddy Ducks, yeah, we're giving away a nice target. Number 1 through 25 and the regular routine. I mean, that'd be a hard thing because I've gotten so used to now running the AAE gripper off of mine and not having one that's connected to the that Trophy Ridge was.
If I was gonna just put one front bar for hunting, it'd probably be on that bow. It'd probably be a 6-incher, maybe an 8, and I'd look into the Conquest bars. They got a bunch of different price range stuff. They got the Control Freak ones, which are a little cheaper, and then they got the SmackDowns that are a little higher, but all of them are good. And they did on their website, I think it's conquestarchery.com. They had some closeout stuff that was pretty cheap and decent, but I'd look into that.
DLR says, his mind blown twice this week. Number one, torque tuning. And can you explain why this works, and does it work with the drop away?
It does. It does. So torque tuning, if anybody's wondering what that is more or less you take your arrow rest, and the way I've done it before is started with the arrow rest all the way forward, and pretty much I like to do it at a little bit of distance, not like 100 yards, but get 40 yards, maybe 60, and you want to induce just a little bit of torque on the bow, and ultimately you're going to take your rest and move it from all the way forward to all the way back, and at some point you're going to get a better group of where that rest is at. And every bow's a little different. And honestly, the bows I've done it on, it ends up with the rest being further back than I thought it would be. But it figures out, I guess, more or less where the best pivot point and for where that arrow's at. And usually it's somewhere above where you're above, and maybe just back a hair of where your hand's touching the grip. But so at whatever point you figure out I can put a little torque in the bow and it's not affecting my arrows as bad, that's pretty much torque tuning. And I've done it. I don't do it a whole lot to my bows, but I have done it to some of my tournament bows, and it was something to do. I mean, it was different and it works. You know what I mean? It's just like creep tuning. What creep tuning is, and I hadn't done this in a while, but it works. You get it, let's say 50 yards, 20 yards, whatever you feel comfortable at, and you shoot one arrow normal, hit the bullseye, whatever. Then you take an arrow and pull real hard into the wall, shoot it, see where it hits. Then you take one arrow and let it go right to the edge of where the bow's ready to just take off, and you shoot it, And then you pretty much, it's according to the bow, but if it's like a hybrid cam bow, you can play with the control cable a little bit and figure out where it shoots the most consistent, of all over the valley there, all the way to the back wall, in the middle of the valley, almost ready to roll. And the reason behind that is, for deer hunting, if you're holding back for a while and it's starting to about let up on you and you make a shot, maybe accidentally or whatever, is it going to go where you're aiming? And with the tournament bow, if you get nervous in front of some people and you either really pull it back or almost let it go, is it going to hit the same spot? So all that's helpful. Definitely, if you got the time to play with it, it's worth doing.
And back to slide, did you say what length? He asked what length.
On the stabilizer?
Yeah.
I'd probably go with like a 6 or an 8.
Yeah.
If it was me, with a tad bit of weight up front, but everybody's different. I mean, we got people that buy hunting bows and we don't put any stabilizer on it. And then we got some little bitty, like 3 or 4 inchers that some people want just to have a little bit of weight. But if I wanted to work on holding steady, I'd probably go with a 6 or an 8 with a couple ounces on the front for a hunting rig and backyard bow type thing.
Let's see. He said, how far do you shoot for deer? Slide does.
I'm a 40-yard guy. I mean, we can walk out here and shoot 80 or 100 yards if we wanted to, but I just, I know how fast sound travels. That's the main thing. I know I can hit what I'm aiming at, but I don't want the deer to be able to move very far before my arrow gets there. So I stick with 40 yards and in, and most of my hunting spots are 20, 25 yards, I've shot a deer at like 46, but it was a perfect condition. The deer wasn't at all alert, that type of thing, and it just worked out. But that's not, most of my shots are between 20 and 30.
Yeah, same here. My comfortable max distance is 50, but conditions has got to be perfect for me to pull off a 50-yard shot. But like my shots are, I think the furthest shot I have in one spot is 43 yards, and I've never had to shoot at one past 40 yards. So,
but I'm all about practicing it.
Oh yeah,
60, 80, sometimes 100. Just if you're good at 80 yards, then a 40-yard shot's nothing as far as your, you mentally know you can do it. So that's always a plus.
Let's see. Richard asked, have you guys tried the Wick Stick Micro Hunter stabilizers?
I hadn't, but I do know it wasn't the Micro Hunter. somebody brought a Bobby Looney maybe. Somebody brought a bow in here with a nice set of wick sticks on there, and they looked great. And they shot. They didn't really flex or anything at all. I was impressed with them, and I thought they looked sharp. And I know Wick Stick makes some nice color combos. Like you can get the colored weights and all that stuff. I kind of like that.
Let's see. Sly also asked recommendation on a tree climber. Ooh, I mean, I haven't bought.
I hadn't in a couple of years myself.
I ain't bought the last climber I bought was the API Grand Slam Superstar Extreme, I think it was, and that's been
The Summit stuff's real popular.
Summit.
There's not one that I know about that just super sticks out that I could say absolutely you need to get this one. And we don't sell. I've ordered tree stands for people, but I don't stock them in here, so that's a hard one. I'm probably not the guy to ask.
They need lone. I know if you're wanting to go like lightweight, I think Lone Wolf.
They made like a 12 or 14 pounder.
Yeah, Lone Wolf made a super lightweight one to be able to pack in, and I'm trying to think of who else is big in the climber. Old Man is another one. I know the newest tree stand. Well, not the newest, but X stand. They also make a couple climbers. And X stand, if you've seen, they've actually got the jaws that clamp to the tree on some of their ladder stands. And I'm not 100% sure if they incorporated that on their climbers, but I like those. Just that little bit of added safety. Let's see. He says he's hunting on public. I would probably look in the Lone Wolf for the lightweightness.
If y'all just tuned in, I'll say this a couple times as I normally do. We're giving away one of these. They call it a nice target. It's pretty much a plastic turkey target. So pick a number between 1 and 25 and put it in the comments. Just kind of scroll through and make sure nobody else has already picked it. And at the end of our little show here, we'll pick somebody. We'll random pick a number and send it to somebody.
DLR asked, he said, I watched a video where a pro sets the first axis of the sight at full draw, which doesn't perfectly level since the bow wasn't level, then set the second and third axis from there. Have we ever done that?
I've seen people do it. I guess that takes into account like the natural whatever you do to the bow. If it's not perfectly level, you could set it off of that. But I do kind of like setting the third axis with the bow at full draw because it lets the cable rod or roller or whatever you got put the torque into the riser, which you don't have if it's just sitting in the vise. But at the same time, I've tested it both ways, and it most of the time ends up about the same. So 90% of the time, I'll just put it in the vise, set first, second, third, rock it back and forth, check it real good, and leave it. But one of the neatest setups I've seen, but it's way overkill, was somebody took their easy press and got all the different axes you can get on the easy press, because they make them to where you can fold it forward and backwards and left and right, if that makes sense. So they put the drawboard extension on the easy press and then come to full draw with the bow and set all their axes with the bow at full draw on the easy press with their little drawboard thing. And I thought that was neat. I'm just, for like a home shop, that drawboard's fine. But I've looked at it and like the cord on it's super thin. Yeah. I'm not thrilled about, I didn't buy one because I thought it was kind of, I hate to say rinky dink, but like if we used it over and over and over and over again, like we do the one we got, I just feel like we'd wear it out. And I may be completely wrong, but I thought about getting that just to do that third axis thing, but I didn't. Look up, we got a couple questions that were sent in. We're going to answer, and then he'll jump back on the live feed, and anybody else that we need to answer, we will. These were mainly Facebook and email, I think.
Let's see. Getting a knock low tear in my cams or time. What do I check next?
I hate a knock low tear. First of all, make sure your arrow, I don't remember who asked this, but make sure your arrow is level. That's absolutely the first thing to do. And then, make sure your spine's right, look at the spine charts and that sort of thing. But we do have some bows come in and, it'll be below level. Somebody set it up or something stretched or moved or whatever. So that'd be the first thing. And then even if the cams are timed according to whatever bow it is, make sure the like Matthews, for example, they have a little window, a little hole in the cam, and the cable's supposed to run right in the middle of it. That tells you the rotation's right, not necessarily the timing. Make sure if there's a way to check it that the rotation's right. And then other than that, there's check clearance. We've had people with the QAD style rest or something similar with a bar on top, and they're shooting some weird fletching and it's clipping top or bottom of the rest. So that's pretty much it without seeing it.
Let's see. Jeff asked thoughts on the HHA Tetra site.
It's, I mean, it's a nice sight. Around here, though, everybody's going crazy on Spot Hog. And I got to admit, I really like the Spot Hog, the Fast Eddie in particular, and XL. But the couple that I've messed with, I mean, they're a stout, solid sight. I mean, we've never had any trouble at a HHA, and we've tinkered with them for a long time. But
yeah,
I mean, I don't have anything bad to say about it. It's well made. It's pretty much all metal. So we don't stock them in the shop, but I mean, I've had people bring them in, and I think we've ordered one or two. But I mean, I like it.
And then another question we had come in: what's your favorite quick disconnect?
That's a good one. I like the there's a bunch of them, but I've been shooting the AAE gripper systems, and that includes their front disconnect and their sidebar mount. But if you're just looking for a quick disconnect, I mean, you can find some El Cheapos for $12-15. And then TJ bought a Excel one, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm actually running that new Excel. I think it's an 8 degree because it was weird because they didn't. I normally run a 10 degree front on my quick disconnect, but they did like 8 and 16 and I think maybe a 5. So I went with the 8, and so far, I mean, I'm pretty happy with that. I just know I wanted the back bar mount too, but
That joker's expensive.
yeah, I just couldn't see. I was like, I don't know about that. So I said, I'm going to hold off. But yeah, the grippers are by far my favorite ones. And like I said, that front quick disconnect from Excel, I'm liking it so far. So
If it's on the front quick disconnect, I've never had too much trouble with any of them. It's on the back ones that, like, if you're shooting a sidebar, the cheaper ones tend to want to move on you, even if you tighten them down super good. So it's worth spending a few extra bucks and getting a decent back bar mount.
let's see. Perry Burns.
How you doing, Perry? Hope you're feeling better. I know you had some had some stuff going on. Jackie was telling us.
He said he's asked when we're going to be doing a wrench ferry setup. He said he's been adding 100-grain inserts for hunting air setup, but haven't tried yet due to my medical setback, and he got in on the drawing.
I have got I might have said this on last week's or sometime or another, but we ordered the Ranch Fairy kit for a bow that got shipped in to us. So hopefully next week we'll video it and all, and then we'll put it out sometime right after that. But I'm kind of curious myself to see how all that goes. Be something different.
Sly says he has 350 to spend on a hunting site. What would we recommend on a 3-pin? I'd say go Spot Hawk because you can get it in a single pin to double pin, 3, 5, and 7. Am I right? Or
I'd either go look into that. There's a bunch of stuff.
yeah, I mean,
even Excel makes some nice stuff. Look
Yeah.
at all their Accu series of sites and Excel sites. I mean, well, really, Spot Hog is too, but they're like tough. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? You can beat and bang on them a little bit. Look at Excel. Look at Spot Hog. I used to really like Sherlock made the lethal weapon sights. Now this is getting a little bit old now. I mean, I probably wouldn't buy one now, but like 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, the Sherlock lethal weapon sights were nice, and you could get them in all kind of pin configurations. But that's probably a little getting outdated now. But definitely look into Excel and look into Spot Hog.
Yeah, I mean, you can get into their carbon, like with the AccuTouch Pros and stuff. You can get into their carbon bars for roughly that,
Yeah.
around 275, right at 3, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jeff said if you buy Hitman bars, you get the quick disconnects.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you do. With the Hitmans though, it the back bar mount is actually connected to the front bar mount, and so with the
If you take the front loose, the whole back bar is
yeah,
loose. It's not a huge deal,
no,
and I
it's
still
not.
think it's a good deal money wise because um, me and TJ both shot them on our hunting bows last year. But you can get a package for like 180 or something like that. We got them, but
Yeah,
for 180 you can get like a front bar, side bar, all the quick disconnects and mounts. I thought that was pretty slick.
yeah, Leon, I think you got number one. I don't see it anywhere. Let me get back to where we were at.
Who would have thought 10 or 20 years ago there would be some guy pop up named the Ranch Fairy that we're following?
Yep.
I don't know.
How many feet per second does a peep and a loop slow a bow down?
It's according to what peep and loop, but on average, let's just say you're shooting a regular old true peep or something, just a regular old aluminum peep hunting style. Well, let's start with the loop. A loop, you're looking at about 2 or 3 feet per second on average. A peep, you're looking at 3 to 5 on average. You get some funky stuff. I mean, you get into like specialty peeps, it's got a lens in it and all that. You're looking at a little more. I've tested this. It's been quite a while, but it's roughly what I came up with, 15 years ago. So peep and loop, you're probably looking at 5 to 10 total. And when they measure IBO at the factory, most of them, from what I understand, is some of them just tie like a knocking point on there, just tie it on with a simple piece of serving thread, because they want to keep that thing as fast as possible, and that's how they shoot it. 30 inches, 70 pounds, and I still believe they ought to have to send them to some kind of an independent lab. Here's what I think ought to happen. I know this is a little bit big, but I think all the bow manufacturers should have to send their bows to 3 separate independent labs to have them tested, and that lab has to verify the draw length, the weight, and the whole 9 yards, and then they combine those 3 labs. I'm calling it a lab, whatever you want to call it, and that's what they ought to have to use as their specs. Because I know for a fact some bow companies have done things to exaggerate their specs, and I don't like that. Like for instance, I'm not going to name the company, but we had a batch of bows come in that we got excited about that we don't have now, and they were some smoking fast bows on paper. We were getting like 20 feet per second less than what they advertised. So I get asking questions, and what they were doing, they were putting a 32-inch draw cam on this bow, but only drawing it to 30 inches. So in other words, it's right at the peak, 70 pounds, you know what I mean? No let off really. And they're shooting it and getting the speed that way. Well, nobody's going to shoot a bow that way. That should not be allowed, but there's no
Regulation.
there's no governing body to stop them from doing it. So that's why I've always said, I don't know how they get paid. I don't know all the specifics, but I just think there should be three labs. They all get their numbers, verify. If somebody sends them a bow and it's not 30 inches, they should either they have to send modules to change it, or they have to send them another bow, or whatever, however that works. But it should be dead 70 pounds, and have a small variance, of course, plus or minus, whatever. And then each lab sends it in to the governing body, whoever it would be, whether it be the ATA or whatever, and then they, put them together, and here's what the average of all that is, and here's what you can advertise.
I thought somebody pulled it. Must have been a neighbor.
Yeah. Anyway,
Sly said, "What about sword sights?"
Sword sights are good, and the guy that makes sword sights, super nice guy. Rod Notestein, talked to him a lot at the shows. Very nice guy. He also makes tree limb quivers. I wish Sword would. They need to come out with something new. In my opinion, to me, it's sort of been the same game for about 5 years now. But we've had them. I mean, they're tough. They're good.
I'm trying to get back to the live commenting thing. Y'all stay with me.
There's a little.
I'm looking.
Turn it sideways and see what happens. Well, yeah, click on the screen.
I can get it back into it. I was going to get us another question.
Okay.
I'm not the most technologically advanced person there is. Oh, okay. Let's say, which way do I twist a string or cable to shorten it?
String cable. So most bowstring manufacturers, you're gonna twist. If you're holding the string in front of you, here's the left side of the string. Here's the right side of the string. On the right side, you're gonna go clockwise to the right. All right, and that's gonna shorten it. There's only one string maker I know of that does it the opposite way. But I mean, you can look at it and just say, "Hey, I'm adding twist. It's gonna shorten that type of thing." And we did have a situation recently where somebody said I added a ton of twist and it's not fixing my timing problem. And then we finally figured out they were twisting it backwards, so it was making the cable longer instead of shorter. But anyway, but yeah, most string manufacturers, if you're holding the end of the string or cable, twist it clockwise to the right, and it's going to shorten it up and add twist.
Okay, let's see if we can do this again without.
I think the rain stopped. I figured it was a minute ago on the security camera. It was like it's sunny again. A while ago, like the bottom. I mean, it thundered and rained for a little bit. I thought it was going to be bad.
This is a good question because I've often wondered this too before I figured. But why are center servants 4 to 5 inches long when a loop only needs like an inch of serving?
My theory behind it, like I honestly think that's something that should probably go away now. Because originally they were 4 or 5 inches long because you had people shooting with fingers, and I really believe they should go to about a 3 inch. A couple people have shortened them up a little bit, and you will gain a foot or 2 feet per second by shortening them up. Now, if you get too short with a center serving, you risk the loop sliding the serving. You know what I mean? If it's like a 1 or 2 inch piece of serving, you got around there, I'd be worried about it sliding. But once you get to about 3 inches and it's good and tight, I don't think it's going to move. And I'm surprised because, I mean, we do get some people that come in and draw a bow with their hand, but 99% of the time now we've got a safety release with a welded. I mean, we get it from, who is it, True Fire?
True Fire.
It's, you can't pull the trigger. It's not even a release. It's just a welded hook. And I know in one of my videos I pulled a bow back with it, and yeah, the loop could have failed and all that stuff. But they were like, "Oh my God, you pulled a bow back without an arrow," and I'm like, "Calm down." But anyway, we throw them that release, or just give them a real release and an arrow to shoot the bow. But I guess if somebody was a finger shooter, you still need that 4 or 5 inches of center serving. But I'm surprised we hadn't seen it drastically shrink. And I know you need a little bit of play for what rest you're using and where you set your arrow up at, but that's pretty much it.
Yep. And then let's see. Perry asks, "What do you think of the Shrewd Atlas V-bar?"
I don't know if I've ever seen one. We might have seen it.
V-bar.
We might have seen it at the show. I don't remember seeing it though.
I don't remember seeing it either. I remember the Onyx bars. I think it was. I looked at them.
I don't reckon I'm familiar with it.
I'm not either.
My first V-bar experience was in like 99, I think, 8 or 9. I went up to Dwight's and he had this fancy Easton V-bar set up. Matter of fact, I might still have that thing. And it had the big aluminum rods on each side and a big ball looking weight on the end, and then it had a weight you could slide back and forth. And I think I will put it on an original Matthews Conquest, and I thought I was something. But in reality, it was way too heavy of a bow for me to be shooting just physical weight.
Yeah.
So I want to say my daddy shot them for a while, and then I may still have them somewhere.
Let's see. What is the manufacturer's required spec for weighing a bow? My bow is supposed to weigh 4.3 pounds bare bow, but it's 5 pounds on my fish scale bare bow.
What I've found in doing these bow reviews I've done, these jokers, and this goes back to the whole, they need to send the bow off to a thing. They're weighing the bow, if the bow comes with any sort of rubber on it or anything like that, they're taking it off to weigh it to put in the catalog. And I think that's crazy. So that's pretty much what it is. If there's any rubber like on the riser or any sort of little extra limb saver style thing, they're taking it off to weigh it. That's pretty much it.
DLR says Shrewd has a sale on a camo single V-bar mount. All right, let me get back to my next question. Let's see. What do string stops help?
String stops pretty much prevent that twanginess from a bow. And then I've watched some slow motion stuff on them, and pretty much the arrow, it makes the arrow come off the string sooner, which is probably a good thing because that's less time for you to make a mistake with your torque or your grip and it affect the arrow. But what they were originally pretty much made for was to prevent some of that string twang. I've took some of my tournament bows and put them on or took them off just to play around and see if it affected, my groups or anything. And for the most part, it didn't. But it definitely, when you take that string stop off, it added some twang to it.
Okay.
And I remember when those came out, it had to be, I guess, early 2000s, early to mid 2000s, because you didn't start seeing them on factory bows until about '06, '07 time frame. And I remember kind of being weary of them because you'd mount them behind your stabilizer and they'd made them for different bows. I remember I finally tried one and I was like, man, this made a big difference. So now everybody's pretty much got them on a bow.
Philip asks, what string material would you recommend for a Matthews VXR?
I'd go X99 or 454. And out of I've got both on bows I own and can't tell much difference in either one. But X99 is sort of my go-to material, and I love 454 too. I would say if you've been a 452 guy for a long time, go 454 because it's pretty much a upgraded 452 with a higher grade Dyneema in it. But if you're not partial to anything, X99 because it's got more Dyneema in it to make it not fray up, but it's still got 20% Vectran to make it not stretch. So I'd probably go X99. That's my go-to stuff. But I don't have a problem with it. I still don't have a problem with 452X, but it does fray up quicker than anything. And it's not like you're going to shoot it 100 times and it's messed up, but I'm talking just over a couple thousand shots, it's going to fray up quicker than anything else. And I talked to BCY, I think it was this year at the show, and they said 452X is still by far their best-selling material, but I don't know if that's because a lot of manufacturers are still using it, like PSC, for example, or Matthews or whoever, or if that's just all around still the best selling material. But it's kind of Mercury. People's asked me about Mercury. So Mercury or the old 8190F, which I think they quit making, but it don't have any Vectran in it. So it's a super slick material, looks great. But if you get it, I mean, we took them, pre-stretched them, did the whole 9 yards. But if you get them in a little bit of heat, it'll move quicker than anything else. It's still a great material, but it'll start moving a little bit.
Okay, Perry asked me, he says, you have a long draw, do I like speed or weight on hunting arrows? I am by far not a speed guy. I mean, I'd much rather go with a little bit heavier air just for the little bit extra kinetic energy. I run mechanical broadheads, but I'm not shooting elk or anything. I'm just shooting old whitetail. But I'm going to go for weight in my air setup. I think the Spartans I'm running now, I think they came out at right at a little over 420 grains of total weight.
Maybe you were the guy that needs to get. I've been wanting to set up a long draw, 80-pound bow. Even though I'm against high poundage bows because people tear their shoulders up, but I've been wanting to set up like 1,000-grain arrow for somebody with that setup. Maybe you were the one.
Bad thing is we got to get an 80-pounder in here.
Pull it, DJ.
I can pull 80. We had a guy drop off a CT3 earlier this year, and it was an 80-pounder, and I'm like, I'm fixing to tear my shoulder all to pieces. But it wasn't as bad as I was expecting. We had tuned it up and everything.
That was like that new breed last year. I was kind of like, should I do it? I was like, I got it. I mean, it was fine, but a guy brought in one time an old PSE. I mean, old, but it was on 104 pounds, and everybody's like, who in the world? And it just so happens, this is luck. I mean, me and TJ, for example, we pulled back a bunch of bows working on them, so I guess we just got that, the rhomboids built up, but I snatched that thing back, and I made it look easy, and everybody's like, holy crap, he just snatched it back. But it was a super, like an old school round cam, so it wasn't like any, but it was funny.
Oh, man. Let's see.
We need to get Perry on here for a podcast.
Yeah.
Just throwing it out there. That'd be cool. Maybe we could do that sooner than later.
Well, and everybody's going to a heavy air setup nowadays. It seems like we're seeing more and more of that. But I mean, I'm running a 31-inch draw, so I'm going to carry a little bit more speed than, let's say, I'm shooting 65 pounds. That's all I shoot for deer hunting. If I'm going out west, yeah, I'm gonna bump it up to 70. But let's say Jeremy here with a 28-inch or 28.5-inch draw length, he's going to lose a little bit of more speed because, number one, he's shortening his airing up, and it doesn't have a power stroke to it coming through. So with a longer draw, that really helps to retain some speed of going with a heavier air. But I mean, mine is 295, I think it is, or 290. So I mean, like I said, I care less about speed. I'd rather run a little bit heavier air. So, but
this is crazy to me, and I still hadn't fully evolved. But for years, everybody wanted speed, and I never was what you'd call a speed guy, but I could get them there. And now it's almost the exact opposite. We get way more people wanting heavy, and on that Ranch Fairy setup, I've got a 250 and a 300 Black Eagle Rampage. I hadn't calculated what they're going to end up weighing yet, but that's going to be fun.
Yeah.
If you just tuned in, let me throw this out there. We're doing our normal little giveaway thing. Pick a number between 1 and 25. Make sure you scroll through the comments and try not to pick a number somebody else has got. We don't have anything huge to give away tonight, but we got one of these. They call them nice targets, but they come on a big roll of like plastic. You should probably check them out. They're inexpensive, but we got a turkey, and we're going to pick it here shortly.
Yep. Let's see. Carbon Defiant Turbo. While paper tuning to get a bullet hole, I had to move the rest up and down and left and right. Could this put or throw sight tape out?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah. I would expect it to. I'm sure anything tiny you do to a bow can throw off the sight, especially at a longer distance. 20 you may not see it as much, but shoot it at 40 or 60 or whatever you feel comfortable. I'd about guarantee you left and right is not a big deal, but you up and down it's gonna change it.
All right, DLR wants us to give him our best sales pitch on a first-time shooter. He's wanting to get a bow for his wife who has never shot, or he's going to be setting up a bow, and we got to give him our sales pitch on what poundage.
It's hard to say,
especially what bow. That would be.
And like if she's never shot before, try not to start her out like super heavy because you want her to enjoy it, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
My wife, she had a shoulder injury when she was in her teenage years doing some kind of volleyball thing. So like when I got her last bow, I wanted to be super careful, and she hadn't shot in a while and whole 9 yards. So I think I started her out at, it was like 30 pounds, 32 pounds. And then over the course of a little time, we ended up about 40. And most ladies, I'd say, end up between 35 and 40. Wouldn't you say?
Go 35, 45.
Okay.
That's a good coverage. I'm going to say if you've got a Diamond Infinite Edge Pro or a SB1 or something that's super adjustable, Cruiser G2, I'd put it down about 30 pounds to start with. And then as she shoots, you can add a half a turn back and add the weight to it.
But let her enjoy it at a low poundage, because even with kids, we see parents want to like jack them up, and after 10 shots, they're wore out and they're hitting their arm and they're tired of it and they're mad because it's hurting them, and I hate seeing that.
Yeah, definitely on that Infinite Edge, I would start out at 30.
I'll tell this story. A lady came in one time, this has been years ago, and wanted to look at bow and all this stuff. Well, it just so happened over the counter, I had a 70-pound bow, and she picked it up, or she took it off the hook or whatever. And I was just about to say, give her the whole spiel of, this is a 70-pound bow, it's a lot of weight, you probably gonna need something lighter. And she snatched that thing back, and I was like, and she didn't look like a big lady, and I was like, whoa. Well, it turns out, and I told her, I said, ma'am, a lot of men can't pull that back like you just did. But she said her and her husband owned a tree cutting business, and she said she's all the time helping him, like, I guess, move wood or logs or whatever. So I guess she had some muscles I didn't see, and I was like, okay, maybe you need a 70-pounder. But that's the only lady I've ever seen that shot that much. Other than, y'all may not know who this is, but y'all remember Joella Preston? Now her last name is Bates. She was a Matthews Pro shooter for years, and real nice lady. I've actually looked into having her out here to do like a clinic type of a thing and have some stuff go on. But anyway, she went over to Africa and actually was shooting a 100-pound bow. And I think at that point in her career, she was shooting a darting bow. But she ended up tearing her shoulder up because of that and had to have all kind of surgery and mess. And now she's shooting traditional. But anyway.
And then the last question I had was, what would be a good color string for a switchback, Matthew switchback?
That was what, Realtree Gray?
That was Realtree Hardwoods HD.
Okay. Maybe sand and tan with a black pinstripe.
Yeah, because I mean
it's like two different browns and a black. And maybe a little.
It has a little bit of a bronzy color in the leaf, so if you wanted to actually go kind of fancy, you could probably go sand, tan, and maybe that metallic bronze as a pinstripe just to get that little extra, little shine in there. But that would be a good option, I would think.
Or if you went speckled, we did. I don't remember what bow now. We did those. Was it like a sand speckled we got? Remember we put on Gene. Or was it Gene's buddy?
Yeah, and I actually run it in a pin in my set that's on my prime right now. But it's got sand, a little bit of black, and I think it's sand and black.
It would look good, but on a lot of camo bows.
Yeah,
just kind of mixes it up.
Orange makes every bow a little cooler. Yep. I don't know if anybody's picked all the numbers. I've been trying, if I hadn't been looking at the camera or whatnot, guys, I'm just trying to make sure everybody's got a number. It hasn't been picked. And
so if you just got on, here in a second, we're going to draw. It's nothing big tonight, but we've got a target from Nice Targets. It's a turkey. So pick a number between 1 and 25. Scroll through, try not to pick a number somebody else has picked, and probably here in 2 minutes we're going to go to random.org and let it select a number, and we'll figure out who won this, and we'll ship it to you. Once whoever wins, just shoot me an email, archeryshack@gmail.com, and I'll get it in the mail.
Muddy Duck says she's up to 53 pounds.
Really? But you shoot a good bit, right? I mean, I could definitely see I think my wife's bow will max at 50, but I was always scared to bump her up because of her shoulder. She's had a shoulder surgery, so that kind of scared me.
When Vanessa quit shooting, I think she was at 42, 43, I think is what it was.
Mm-hmm. I know some of the pro ladies, because obviously they want a little more speed to not have to worry about yardage as much. They're shooting 50s and 60s.
Mm-hmm.
Are we safe to draw a number, you think?
I think so. I really believe that we might have to up it next week, because I think that was all the numbers.
Was it?
I think. So don't hold me to it.
So we're going to go to random.org. He'll figure out what number it is. If we call your number, go ahead. If you want to, just go ahead and comment, because it'll take, since we're on my phone, it'll take a minute to get back over, and we'll try to figure out who it is. So we are on random.org.
1 through 25, number 3.
Number 3.
I remember seeing 3.
If you pick number 3, give us a shout.
Watch that be one that I missed. It wasn't number 3. I remember seeing 3.
We're looking.
Joe Wilson.
Congratulations, Joe. Just shoot me an email, archeryshack@gmail.com. If you don't do, well, you probably do computer stuff because you're watching this, but if you were to not, you can, our number's in the description. Give us a call tomorrow either way, email or call. But we'll get this shipped out to you. And I guess we're going to sign off YouTube, and just for a few minutes like we've been doing, we're going to jump over on Facebook. If you got Facebook, there's a group called Friends of the Archeryshack. We're going to go live in there here in a second and just chat. We got a couple more questions to answer, and we'll chat with everybody for a few minutes. There's a few folks that don't do YouTube that do Facebook, so we just try to get everybody there.
Yep.
So let me go turn this thing off, and we'll see y'all on Facebook. Thank you for watching. If you're new tonight, click the subscribe button. We greatly appreciate it. We do 3 things a week. We do a little podcast, we do our live feed, and then on Sundays a video comes out. Sometimes it's us shooting at a tournament type thing. Sometimes it's a product review. Sometimes lately it's been a lot of bow tuning stuff. So check us out. Give us our contact information's in the description. Holler at us if we can do anything for you.
Yep.
See y'all on Facebook.
See ya.